Hey everybody, welcome back to the Consumer Warrior Podcast. The podcast is dedicated to helping you with your big debt problems. If you're just dabbling in debt, this isn't the podcast for you. We deal with the big debt problems like repossession, debt collection lawsuits, foreclosure, bankruptcy, and all the other horrible financial problems out there. We're here to help you to help yourself. Welcome back to the show. My name is John Skiba. I'm the host. I'm also a consumer protection attorney in the state of Arizona. And in today's episode, I'm going to continue with the mini-series that we've been putting together about some of the debt myths that have been raised by Dave Ramsey in his book, The Total Money Makeover. I'm a big proponent of the book. I'm really into Dave's method of getting out of debt, which I know is kind of a strange approach for a bankruptcy attorney to take. But I like to let clients know that there are other options other than bankruptcy. They're not easy. Like Dave says, it's not easy, but it's worth it to be able to resolve those. But in this book, he deals with several financial myths that are out there. And so this is the second in a series of episodes that I'm going to do on whether I agree with these myths and some of the other ways that these types of financial issues can impact things like bankruptcy or debt collection lawsuits. So the last episode we dealt with, in episode number 12, was dealing with people who are loan family money or people who co-sign on debts and why that's not a good idea. In today's episode, we're going to talk about whether you need a credit card to rent cars, hotels, purchase things online, and whether that's a myth or not. Before I get into that, I want to thank our sponsor for today's show, which is the Consumer Warrior Project. You know, if you're dealing with some of these serious debt problems and you find yourself, whether it be a debt collection lawsuit, needing to file for bankruptcy, you've had a car repossessed, you know, it can be very intimidating and frustrating because the other side, the creditor, is likely has an attorney representing them, and you may just feel totally unmatched. Well, that's what the Consumer Warrior Project is about, is providing you with tools, resources, tutorials, templates, forms, those types of things really to level the playing field. So you can learn more about that by going to legal.coach. That's www.legal.coach, where you can get access to all of that. And I'm losing my voice already today. Take a quick drink of water. All right, let's jump into the myth today, which is whether it's necessary to have a credit card to essentially to travel, to go to hotels, to go to rent a car, to purchase things online. And that's the specific myth on page 38 of the book here. The myth, he says, is that you need a credit card to rent a car, check into a hotel, or buy online. He says the truth is that a debit card will do that. Now, this myth may be slowly going away over time because I think most people realize they can use their debit card to purchase something online, whether it's Amazon or whatever it is that you're buying online. Most people, I think, understand you can do that. Hotels, it's been years since I've had to use a credit card to check in or even reserve a hotel. My wife and I, we have one credit card with about a $500 limit, and I can say that we just don't really use it. So I haven't seen that be a big issue. But one issue that people have brought up to me quite a bit is the ability to use or rent a car with a debit card. You know, is that actually possible to do? And I can tell you that myself, I've done it. I've rented a car with a debit card, and I didn't have any difficulty at all. And this was even a few years ago. But I thought, maybe even my experience isn't the normal experience. And so I did a little bit of research. And my research, I was able to find, you can go to each one of the car rental companies' websites, and almost all of them are really upfront as far as whether they accept debit cards or not. And if they do accept debit cards, some of them have some additional requirements or hoops that you have to jump through to be able to do it. But I also found a great article over at creditcards.com where they went through and they provide some of the details and the terms from the various national car rental companies as far as what they require to rent a car with a debit card. And I went through all of those as well, looking for the ones which I thought were most advantageous. And my criteria was, one, obviously, that you could use a debit card. Two, that they didn't put any type of additional hold onto your account. Because that's what I see some of them will do. They will, you'll rent the car, it'll be a $150 charge, but then they'll put an additional hold of $500 or $1,000 or something like that on the card, and keep it that way for up to they say up to like 7 to 10 working days, which can be a big problem for someone who doesn't have a lot of disposable income. So I went through that, and with that criteria, I can give you the ones that I think are the most debit card friendly. Those are Alamo, Avis, Budget, Enterprise, and National. All of them allow you to rent a car with a debit card without any additional charges as far as any additional holds that they're going to put on it. There was some requirements as far as age. Most people, they don't allow you if you're under the age of 25, but I think that's pretty universal anyway. If you're under 25, I think it's a little bit difficult to rent a car, but they don't allow people with a debit card only to rent if you're under the age of 25. Something that many of them do require, though, is proof that you're going to go home. They want to see proof of like an airline ticket that you're leaving the city where you're renting the car, or some proof that you're not just this isn't just a one-way thing, but they're actually going to get their vehicle back. So on this one, I am 100% in agreement with Dave Ramsey that that is a myth that you need a credit card to rent a car or a hotel or to buy things online. All of that can be done with a debit card. Like Dave says, the only thing that a debit card can't give you is debt, because you have to have the money in the account to be able to use it. So that is going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Again, I highly recommend the book, Total Money Makeover. If you are in debt and trying to get out, this is something that I'm starting to implement into my bankruptcy practice, is at least to give people options. Sometimes bankruptcy is absolutely necessary, but there's other times when something like this, a program where a repayment of the debts can actually be put into place, help people to get out of debt and avoid the bankruptcy altogether. So again, I want to thank the sponsor for today's episode, the Consumer Warrior Project. If you want to head over to legal.coach, you can check out the templates, the forms, and the video tutorials that we have there. And they can be very helpful if you are really struggling to really dig out of the problem that you have. So again, that's legal.coach. That'll do it for this episode, and I will catch you next time.